Hey Frank, how's it going?
Hey Wayne, you hear what happened?
No, what's going on?
They had a huge storm back in the mountains, and because of the fire, unable to stop the water, Fish Creek Hill down at the bottom washed out.
What about access? Is there any access anymore?
It's going to be years before they hit Fish Creek Hill.
Well,
It's bad. The whole top collapsed, the sides of it collapsed, it's totally blocked. I mean, it's bad.
so that means we got to start rethinking a lot of our plans for this next year.
Yeah, I mean, Forest Service, without the money, I don't see them fixing that anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, it's an indefinite period of time. So, well, good thing I was sitting back here and kind of going through some stuff. So I'll change my approach and start looking at some other areas and some of the other things we kind of put on the shelf, and we'll start looking into those areas then. All right, Frank, you take care, and I'll catch you later.
All right.
Thank you. Bye. So Frank obviously discussed the problems with Fish Creek Hill. For quite some time, the area was shut off down by Tortilla Road. And what we're looking at is that because of the fires that they let burn through the Superstitions, but did not jump Apache Trail, they were able to contain it to the south side. Well, we just were given there was a deluge of rain that came through the area. And what it did is it loosened everything up along that area. So not only was it the floodwaters that came down Fish Creek Canyon across the road down through there and pretty much just probably moved and changed everything down below where we were working. The access road from above completely was wiped out. And from a couple more calls and other research, it appears everything's closed from Apache Lake to basically the viewpoint up above Fish Creek Hill. And looking at some of the pictures I saw, it's going to be for them to basically clear the road, get everything set, and then be able to get it stabilized where we could get access again. It could be, we're not talking possibly months, because we could be hitting a rainy season again. It could be years. So it's very unfortunate. We'd spent so much time. I'm glad we did now. But it could be a lot of things are lost forever because of what happened in the water movement and what happened through there. It will be interesting when we finally are able to get ourselves some access and get back in to look at the terrain, film, and see what's changed, because I have a feeling there's been some very dramatic changes. So it's unfortunate, but then again, sometimes, you know, Mother Nature, or for whatever it is or what to be, just makes you move on, and you have to kind of carry on in your own way and find something different. After talking with Frank, there's a number of areas we've been very curious about, and obviously we have to pull them off the shelf, dust things off, and start reapproaching what we were doing. One thing last year we kind of found ourselves winding up into was the area along Peralta Road. What kind of last spring kind of got us kind of looking back at the area was a geologist had come out to speak at the Dawns of Arizona general meeting, and he was talking about the areas most conducive to finding gold. Obvious, the gold field area where the mammoth, the wasp, the bluebird, the black queen, the bulldog was an area obviously that we know there was a lot of gold. He also spoke in the areas of Hewitt Canyon and those type of areas along through there, along Hewitt Road, which there was a lot of silver mining and there was gold. But the third area he spoke of and said it's very surprising, but it is probably the area that fits the pattern of those other two the most, would be along the area of Peralta Road leading to the Superstitions. Now, a lot of people lived along that area. I know, just Henry DeCook, Henry and Helen Burns, Bob Ward, Doc Nations. There was quite a few people in that area along the road and had camps and cabins and so forth over the years, going back into the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And we never had heard any stories. There's a lot of mining activity, an awful lot of prospects. There are some mines. We never heard of anything significant coming out of them. But it's also another a program I do, Chasing Legends. I spoke once about all these various deaths, and I went, decade by decade, going through the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and found I was quite surprised that a large number of the deaths have happened since it was the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s. Mysterious deaths, murders, and so forth. And one of the areas that has the most high content of groups of murders seems to be, it's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle of the superstitions. And it's that area along Peralta Road. A lot of people have done ghost hunting expeditions and paranormal research because of activity they believe. But you look at all these different things coincidental, and you're trying to understand whether it's the psychology of the area affects everyone somehow, or what's going on there. And we have these various stories. Henry and Helen Burns and the Burns Ranch, and there's a treasure story, and there's the Holy Stone story interconnected with that. Henry Burns would be in town and contact Tom Collenborn and talk to Tom and tell him, you got to come out, there's these lights through the air coming over us and stuff, and they seem to work their way back into Hieroglyphic Canyon. And he's kept telling Tom, you got to come out and see this, I don't know what this is. And it started the whole idea of like, well, there was some sort of extraterrestrial type things. Coincidentally, a woman, I think her name's Kay Kazar, wrote a series of books, and a number of articles she spoke of. The two areas she seemed to think the most activity it was in was not only the Peralta Road area and Hieroglyphic and Burns Ranch and all this, but another area seemed to be the Fish Creek Canyon area where we were, which we never saw anything. And you kind of like throw this stuff off, but it was all just kind of like odd. Now the Burns had kind of like rather a bit of a roller coaster run. It was said they were so dirt poor they had nothing. Henry passed away. Helen ended up committing suicide, as the official inquest was found. Was she committed suicide, but there was 2 bullets, and there's kind of a strange theory that there was a bullet accidentally in the chamber and 2 bullets actually fired. So she ended up in one shot shooting herself twice. And it's always been kind of like that. That's what happened, but it's very mysterious that the people were there with her. You have the mysterious treasure stories where supposedly Henry Burns had something kind of stashed away through there. People have been through there, found nothing. You have the people that have said there was, I believe one story has some sort of extraterrestrial alien body was buried up on the hill behind the ranch and was taken out, and some guys removed that, or it was a skull. Of course, you have the Burns, or the Bob Ward Ranch stuff, and the cabin in that area, and Henry DeCook, who shot himself, and then, as we had one eyewitness, not eyewitness, but someone who had been there at the time, and said, DeCook had actually walked out of the cabin, made a hard left turn, and walked down the road a ways before he collapsed. So they're saying he somehow shot himself in the head inside, and then they believe there was possibility of murder attached to that. I've heard a number of stories, and I won't give the names because of the individuals who are still around and what they've shared with me. But there was supposedly a number of shootings within the cabin or the area of the cabin, and of people unknown. There's this story of Trapper, and I think I might have touched upon this in the live I did, and maybe that's something we need to post up on YouTube, where Bill Bemo, who operated Bemo's Barber Plaza in Apache Junction, was in with some guys, and there was a guy named Trapper. I can't remember his actual name, but I have the articles, and he went out and shot Trapper and his dog, and they were found. And the sources that knew these individuals said there was 2 or 3 other individuals that were involved in this partnership, and they never knew what happened to any of them. They disappeared. So there's this disappearances and murders and deaths all along this stretch, and maybe we'll touch upon some of it next season. But it kind of has always intrigued us as, you want to go out and kind of see what's going on. We've never had any type of paranormal or unusual activities, but it seems to affect other people a lot. The granddaddy of it all is an area down by Hieroglyphic Canyon that's always kind of interested us because there is a mythology built on what's called the Spiral Staircase Mine. It can be called the Corkscrew Mine, it can be called the Winding Staircase Mine, and everything to it. But the funny thing is, everyone attached to it says it's not a mine. There was never any mining done there. The story comes out of the 20s or 30s when some individuals discovered a tunnel. The tunnel was collapsed. They went to punch in from above to intercept the tunnel. And when they got in, after traveling another 150, 200 feet down the tunnel, found a winding stairwell that went down into the ground, into the bedrock, another 125 feet. I've met enough people that have been in this, and the word I got is it's highly unstable. It's been collapsing over time. It's very, very old. Most of the tunnel runs through the alluvial, which is just sand and dirt and loose rock. So it's collapsing in on itself. So what we want to do is kind of start to look at some of these things and understand what this is. But for Frank and myself, being guys that are generally looking for some sort of treasure or something specific, this is an interesting story. And it couples with the removal of the hieroglyphic stone out of Hieroglyphic Canyon, which was located at the Mormon Temple in Mesa. But as we started looking into this, they suddenly decided a redevelopment there. And the stone, the hieroglyphic stone that sat there since 1934, is now missing. And we've not made any inquiries. We can't, obviously the research center there and everything's gone. But we've kind of looked into what happened and the removal of it. And as we've kind of done little bits of research looking at that, there seems to be a number of ties with a number of people. We found the first 60, 70 years of this story is attached, and other than one person, Andy Sinbad, who related a lot of the information from the story that he found from others, and Andy was there for 20, 30 years digging. It's a very unusual story, since when you go back into it, there's very specifics known about the people that were there and what happened. But there's no names. We have absolutely no names for probably the first 40 years of the digging of the mine. There was even a death occurred because of the when they were working in the tunnels, and again, we don't need to refer to it as a mine, but there's no other way to attach it. So that's our next step, is we want to go out and look at some of these areas and kind of the possibilities and what they are and how they interrelate, and see if they attach into anything else that we're talking about. Of course, bottom line, there is a little bit of interest, and though we know from I've experienced from being there, is this is not a mine. It is a pit, and we know when the pit was dug, but it is a pit with a tunnel a short distance that intersects the pit. And it's in an area, and it's supposedly an area that's considered either sacred or there's supposedly can make you uneasy. And you tie all these things in, and though it's not, I will say that straightforward, it's not a mine, and it is not the Lost Dutchman Mine. It is funny how it actually kind of covers a lot of the clues of the Lost Dutchman Mine, which again, always in folklore, makes you wonder, did one thing kind of like pollute the other over time? So again, while we probably say goodbye to Ted DeGrazia for a short time, because obviously we won't be in that area looking at those things and the mining and the fish map for the time being, because we're kind of very limited. Right now, we'd have to, the access point to all those areas would be coming in down at another area in Junction, and it would involve just, we're talking hours and hours, if not a day, to kind of get back into access. So because of that, and looking at where we're at, we'll kind of move into this other area, which I think people will enjoy. I mean, I know a number of people have looked at it, and it'll be interesting to look and talk to the people involved and the stories involved, and try to get a better understanding of the psychology of the overall area, because I think the mythology of the superstitions in the Lost Dutchman Mine, probably so much of it emanates from those people and their stories that were in that area. So we'll see where we wrap up this year as we kind of like start to make our way, and then we'll see where it takes us going into the next season.
Are we being watched? Don't. Just see the people watching us. You see them? See them up there sitting? Being watched, Frank. Someone up on the ridge. Are you still rolling? Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. Must be on the right path to something when you find a pile of rocks piled up. This is interesting because this is all fresh dirt that has been dug out from the ground. So someone dug a hole here, probably right in here, and backfilled it in. So who knows what they were digging for. But we'll kind of work our way up the ridge here. See what else we can find. Frank's off that way, so we'll go to catch up. Frank, bear to your left. Okay, let's take care of our camera equipment better now. Okay, look over here. We just missed this. We have our backs to it. Frank missed it. There's more of this dirt that's been dug up. And you see that? That's not a dead bush or plant or tree. That's something that's marking something. So I'm not going to mess with it too much. For all we know, it could be a grave. But yeah, up here top of the hill. And I was thinking maybe this is where they were popping some holes checking for the tunnels. It seems awful close to the ridge. But now with this marker, I'll look for more of these. I wonder if someone's buried here. It's caving in. See it? Frank! What's he saying? Is he having problems?
I don't know.
Okay, but where are you?
We're back where we started from when you sat down and took a break. We had to walk back there to find the cover for the microphone. When I got back here and found it, I turned around, and right in front of us, we weren't looking, someone stuck a stick in the ground, and there's a big dirt patch. It looks like it would be, I don't think they were digging for any, I think it could be a grave.
All right, so that thing you were looking at on that mountainside is down that way.
We're back the direction where we sat down, and then we were looking at that thing on the ridge.
Right.
Yeah, I'm coming that way now. We're getting ready. We'll look at this on the way back, but I got pictures of it, so.
Okay, it's a large cactus with 3 prongs and 1 little wee one on top. It's higher than any others. I'll be standing next to it.
All right, I'll look for you in a few. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, there's Frank. Let me get a picture of this. See it? Yeah.
seems like it would be easier to look down there from over
Well, I am.
Here.
I just wanna kind of work my way around it.
Yeah. Go down. There's another one over here. I would not go down in there.
Well, I will check it.
I'm just telling you, too many rocks
Okay.
like that.
Noted.
Hey,
Yeah,
leave your car keys up
I will.
there. Tie it to your leg.
You need to come over here.
Tie it to your leg, and
I don't need to tie it to my leg, I'll tie it to the harness.
Get over here. You need to tie me off.
you go down in there.
I'm going to go down at least this far down in here.
Oh.
Get as much of a look as I can. Check the stability first.
Even these boards are rotted on. I'll tie it onto this. What the fuck is this?
What? I don't know. It's not a fire pit.
A shelter?
Good Frank. Right, put your shit down. Here. Turn me off on here. They've been working this on and off since the 30s or 40s. I don't know who put this here though. Chain ladder. Sal said that chain ladder wasn't there in the 80s.
Let's move this. Grab it and if you would.
Bring it around this side of you. No, bring it around your left side. Bring it around behind you. Okay. You always give me plenty of slack. So I don't get pulled. You gotta give me plenty of slack. Which rock did you think was ready to go?
I want to change one over.
Yeah, this one right here?
Yes. Don't trust that. That's the kind I was standing on that let loose.
See down here? worried about this rock over here.
That thing broke loose.
Pickaxe or something? See, the chain ladder only goes down so far. Goes down to this ledge, and then you gotta crawl down the rest of it.
Well, actually,
You need a rope.
How far are you going?
I don't know. I'm just testing the weight on everything first.
Well, I wouldn't tie it off.
No, I'm not going
If
to
you
tie it off.
slip, if you slip, I'm not going to be able to hold your weight.
I'm going to use this, which will help. It's not a sharp object. Rope will roll over, let's see. Like a rope. This is smooth. So that gives me slack, but that gives that where it won't cut the rope. And it won't be pulling against these boulders. I don't want to carry my flashlight. Another problem is you got to swing out of it. I wish this was out more.
I wouldn't do that.
Wow.
I don't think.
What?
What are you going to do with that?
What?
What's he going to do with that?
Oh no, I was just seeing if it works.
The wood going to it is rotted.
Yeah, so they had to have some guy out there cranking, and this is how they were
Yeah,
hauling the
so
buckets.
how long ago were they down here?
I don't know. I'm trying to find anything on here. It's a marking. This isn't that old. There's barely rust on the threads. Here, there's no rust anywhere on this part of it.
That's because it's galvanized.
But there's rust. There is some rust. And the cable is in really good shape. I don't know about the rest of everything else.
Does this rope hold your weight?
What? Oh yeah, the rope will hold my weight. Well, will you be able to hold my weight?
No.
Okay, that's my worry. My worry right now.
See what I mean about that ladder? You put your feet in it, and then your weight
Yeah, I know.
closes it in on your feet.
You need to be on this side of the ladder, so I need a different type of ladder. So I need something that I can string here and go down this way. You see what I'm saying?
I wouldn't use that ladder.
I'm not sure about it because it's got a lot of rust on it.
Yeah, I would not. How much you weigh?
I'm down to about 215, 210 now.
All right, well.
Now everybody knows my weight, but hey, that's a hell of a lot better than 260. Hold that rope. Make sure you got that thing
I got
secure.
it.
I'm on that rock. You said it's gonna move. But if that rock, I'm sure. Where'd my flashlight go? You see it?
You set it down on the rock in front of you.
It's underneath me. No, it's not underneath me.
Are you sitting on it?
Oh, okay. I got it.
It's sticking out of your ass.
It's not in bedrock, it's in like boulders.
Yeah, those are boulders that fell from here.
You can see the tunnel. It is
This
the
is
bed-
like that embankment where my claim is. Look at all those rocks just
I know.
hanging.
But it's bigger down there. It's just all large-sized boulders.
Yeah. This makes no sense at all.
Well, this is a hole they punched to get to the tunnel.
How'd they know the tunnel's down there?
Because they found the opening that was collapsed in the wash. And then they decided, since that was collapsed, they punch a hole in. So they started punching holes, and this is the hole they supposedly punched and intersected the tunnel.
But how'd they know there was a tunnel?
Because they found what looked like a ramp going up to a tunnel that was collapsed. They saw the tunnel, but it was collapsed inside.
Okay, how far from here?
They don't give you an exact measurement, but it has to be. That's what
Close.
I wanted to get. What I wanted to get was a direction of this tunnel, which they say is due north. And
that
then
would go
you
that
have
way.
to go straight.
North that way.
Well, that's what I'm trying to look at. I'm trying to see. Looks like the tunnel goes this way.
All right.
So this has to go this way. If the original tunnel, which it collapsed, yeah, and I wanted to see, but you can't see back the other side. You want to be down in there so fucking bad, Frank.
How deep is it?
I'm going to say 30 feet tops. Because I'm about 10 feet there, 20. Yeah, it's right there's the bottom. I can see the bottom, Frank. And I can see a couple things. I think I see a pickaxe or something. I see a piece of wood. Yeah, and it's not dirty down there. It's just boulders, rock. See a couple of those things, and I don't see anything else.
Yeah, they fell off the side. And I can see a few more ready to go.
Okay, but no, what I'm saying is there isn't. I don't see a solid floor, but then I can't see back to the tunnel. I can see where the tunnel starts. I can see just the edge of it right here. I can see just the edge of it right here. It's under these. See these two rocks there? Okay, see those two rocks that I'm lighting up?
No, because I'm anchored in right here.
Okay.
I can't see down
There's
in
two
there.
rocks, and I can see the tunnel, the one side of the tunnel opening. And it looks kind of sheer. The problem is, the better angle you'd have, you can't sit over there under that side and see it, because you'd be falling in. You'll go in with all that gravel and rock.